Okay, welcome to the present tense in German. Das Präsens oder die Gegenwart. Both words may be used. And we're going to have a look at how to conjugate the present tense in German. Before we understand how to put the German together, it's important we look at the English. Because the English present tense, or should I say present tenses, work slightly differently from the German. And if you don't understand that, you can get into problems when translating. So we'll do that first. The first thing to note is that the present tense describes what you do normally. And it's that word normally that you need to keep in your head when deciding whether or not to use a present tense. If it happens normally, you need a present tense. So I play tennis 3 times a week. That might not be happening right now in the present, so you might think it's not the present tense, but it is, because it happens normally. We stay in a 4-star hotel. You might be talking about every year you go on holiday. You're not currently on holiday, but it happens normally. It happens regularly. It happens habitually. So it's present tense. Do you go to Germany often? We've got a question. Again, it's a question asking about what you do normally. And therefore it's a present tense. And here we see the first occasion where people start making mistakes because of the English. In English, we make a question often by using the modal do. This is not the same do as machen, as in ich mache meine Hausaufgaben, I do my homework. In that sentence, you are doing something. In this sentence, it's not about doing, it's about going. So the verb you need is gehen, to go, and you need the present tense of gehen. Don't put machen in there because you'll just not make any sense whatsoever. Getting confused by the English. That is the same as you go. Okay, and then the second instance is easier to spot in the sense of it makes more sense because it's what you're doing presently, but the English form of that sometimes causes us translation problems in that it's got 2 words. I am studying. Am studying in German is the same as study. It's just the present tense. There is no I am, ich bin in there. I am studying. The verb is study, so you need the present tense of study. There's no equivalent of ing in German. Same as they are watching me, right? It's happening right now, so we need a present tense. And we just need to learn how to form the present tense, form it of the watch or study, and that's your sentence. Don't worry about the way the English does it with the am and the ing and the are and the ing. And then this one you might see as the same as number 1, or you might see it as different because it's not something you're doing, but it's a fact or a state which is true currently. So I am English. There's no action happening there. However, I am is still a verb. And it's that I am that is your ich bin. Okay? Ich bin English. Nothing's happening. Nobody's doing anything. But it's currently true. Okay, so it's also a present tense, and he knows the answer. Here's another one. So the main thing to draw from this is it happening now, or does it happen normally? If the answer to either of those is yes, you need a present tense. And note, there are 3 different forms in English. There is the simple present with the 1 word. There is the continuous form with the ing, and the am, or the are, or the is even. And then there is the form with do. Okay, so let's have a look at how we put it into German. First of all, you need to find the infinitive of the verb. That is the verb in the dictionary that ends in en. Okay, and you take that out of the dictionary, make sure it's got an en on it, or a few verbs just end in n. That is also possible, and it's this infinitive which means to do something. So spielen, ending in en, means to play. Can't just put an ich in front of it, then you would be saying I to play. Right. Second thing you need to do is work out if a verb you're using is strong. This can be the difficult part because you need to know how your dictionary works or strong verb list. So let's just have a look at the former. Now then, this strong verb list can be found on my website, languagesfun.com. If you go into the resources section of the German site and click Key Stage 4 and then Reference Materials, you should find this list in there. Or all dictionaries will have this information in the middle or in the back somehow recorded, and you will know you've got your list because each verb listed has 4 given parts. Beginnen, beginnt, began, begonnen, bitten, bittet, bat, gebeten, und so weiter. And it's these 4 parts that lead you into being able to work out every single form of the German verb. If it's not on this list, it's good news. But if it is on this list, you need to pay attention to this second column, which lists the present. And we'll come back to that. So, let's assume it's not on such a list, as most verbs aren't. And we call that then a weak verb. It means it behaves itself normally. And all you need to do to form the present tense is grab hold of the en, or the n that's on the end of the infinitive, take it off, and put these endings on according to who is doing the verb. So, these subject pronouns should look familiar. Ich means I, du means you, means he, sie means sie means she, means it, wir means we, ihr means you, sie means they, and sie means you. Now, if you're not familiar with these, I will quickly run through the fact that yes, I've said you 3 times. You've got 3 words for you in German: du, ihr, and sie with a capital. If it hasn't got a capital, it is either they or she. Okay, and whether it's they or she is decided on the ending, whether it's en or t. So, the first you, du, is what you use when you are talking to one person with whom you are on first name terms. So somebody you are being informal with, maybe a family member, maybe a friend. If you're talking to more than one of such people, then you need ihr. Okay, and if you're being polite because you don't know the person very well, or because they are above you in society, because you would call them sir or madam, then you call them sie. Okay, and it's quite important that you use sie correctly with people who are above you in society. If in doubt, use sie, because you won't offend anybody that way. You'll just sound a bit of a plonker, and you might get laughed at, but at least you won't insult anybody. Okay, so let's have a look at the example then. We've got spielen here, straight from the dictionary, with its en on the end, and spielen means to play. Okay, so all we do, we take the en off, that's called our stem, spiel, and then we put on our endings. So we get ich spiele, du spielst, sie jetzt spielt, wir spielen, ihr spielt, sie spielen, sie spielen. And it's as straightforward as that. And you can see therefore the 2 translations that are possible: I play or I am playing. Both of them are ich spiele. Okay, or even I do play would also be ich spiele. I haven't had room to put that up. And that's it. So, ich spiele Fußball, I play football. Spielt Fußball, he plays football. Wir spielen Fußball, we play football. Done. If, when you looked at the strong verb list, you found that your verb was on the list, it's not such terrible news. All it means is the endings are exactly the same. Don't have to learn any new endings. It just means that you've got to take note of this second form, and you can see here that there's a difference between the infinitive geben and this I that's crept in. Now, some strong verbs on the strong verb list don't have a change, in which case, in this particular tense, it would work exactly like a weak verb. But if there is a difference here between the infinitive and the present tense form, this is what you have to do. You have to realize that this one here is the equivalent, is the er sie es form, and that's an indication given by the T. So gibt means he gives, okay? And it's that we base it on with just the do and the er sie es form, because as I said, the good news is that most of them, most of these forms are exactly the same as if they were weak. So ich gebe comes from the infinitive geben, take off the en, add the e. No difference. The difference comes when we get to the do form, and we've got the s that has slipped in to this form here, which is this one. Er sie es gibt comes from the strong verb list. This do form needs to end in st, so we've just added an s in there. That's all you have to do. All the rest behave as the weak form, as in they come from geben, they remove the en, and they add the endings, which for 3 out of the 4 of them is exactly the same as just keeping it the same anyway. Doddle. Okay. Couple of exceptions to those rules, but that's the important bit. Strong verbs only affect the do and the er sie es forms. There are a few irregular verbs. Sein must just be learnt, unfortunately. Ich bin, du bist, er sie es ist, wir sind, ihr seid, sie sind, and sie sind. There is no explanation for why those forms are so different from the infinitive. You just got to learn them. And then there are these modal verbs. Müssen is slightly different in that it doesn't end in an e. Ich muss, du musst, er sie es muss, wir müssen, ihr müsst, sie müssen, sie müssen. And these that I'm going to show you now are slightly different in that they are on the strong verb list, and the strong verb list gives the he, she, it form, but it doesn't end in a T. Nor does it end in an E in the I form, and the I and the he, she, it forms are the same of these few irregular verbs. The do form, again, follows the ST rule of the weak form, the strong form, sorry. And the other ones that behave like this are dürfen, können, mögen, sollen, wissen, and wollen. Okay, and they are the only other ones that behave like this. So these I, you, he, she forms are based on that second form in the strong verb list, and the only difference with the U form is that it needs the ST. So, for example, ich darf, I'm allowed, du kannst, you can, just add the ST, mag, he likes, ich soll, I'm supposed to, du weißt, you know, and sie will, she wants. That is the only the only ones that are slightly odd, don't behave like the strong verbs exactly, in that there's no E, there's no T, and the I form is the same as the he, she, it form. That's it. There are no more exceptions. Just the separable verbs and the reflexive verbs have little twiddly bits to look out for, but that's basically the present tense. Thank you very much.